So Greg, I mean, I'm not sure if I need to tell you this, but some of your shirts are kind of crappy. I mean, you know,
What do you mean by crappy? They got a sweet little pocket right here.
they
That's
could be better. I mean, there's a place I know where it has lots of cool stuff. Uh,
yeah, but how cool?
we're talking about triple A cool. We're talking about shirts from 86.com. They're a pretty cool site. They sell all types of merchandise, including T-shirts, keychains, and other cool stuff that they sell on their site. And also have awesome video game material as well, such as Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Guilty Gear, Skullgirls, Blaze Blue, Smite, and 86's own brand of T-shirts as well as other stuff. Recently they put out some new keychains for Street Fighter 5. So yeah, there's some awesome stuff there. So I'm just suggesting, next time you go out and buy a shirt of any kind, I suggest check out 86.com. And if you want to support us and them at the same time, please use this link in your web browser to check out 86.com. Put in www.86.com !AFF equals 4. Again, www.86.com !AFF equals 4. This link will tell them that we sent you and that we're cool with them as long as you're cool with us. Thank you and enjoy the show. So great.
Live.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome to the show. Before we do anything, give me 1 second to, as we do every show, and I seem to forget, we need to have our music. So give me about another minute or two. Also, joining me tonight is no other than Greg Dietz.
Hi, you might hear fans in the background, and you see no image just because I can't wear a shirt right now. It is 102 outside my house, and it's going down. It was 110 earlier, so it's
Yeah.
too goddamn hot, and the rent's too damn high.
Yep. Basically. So give me 1 second here, guys. Let me go ahead and get this set up. All right, we're good. We're good now. We got music now. I'll turn just a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, Bionic Commando.
That's hilarious. That's the picture you still use of me.
Okay, so where to begin? First off, for those who are watching or listening at home, this podcast tonight is going to be a long one. We didn't have a show last week, and the reason being is that the fact that Gamescom was happening literally last week. So we held it off for a week. We came back, and there's so much news that we have to expand this to not just an hour, but an hour plus, possibly a 2-hour show tonight, depending on how things go tonight. But yeah, that's kind of what's gonna be going on tonight. Is talking about a lot of news, Gamescom, big stuff that came out in the past week, and a bunch of Overwatch news,
Yep.
of Overwatch news, which is ridiculous. But yeah, so with that being said, let's get down to it. All right, so hang on, turn myself up a little more. All right, there we go. Okay. So let's get down to it. First on the agenda, Microsoft announcements. Okay, so Microsoft unveiled some things at Gamescom this past week. One of which is that, as you can see on the stream, the Larry Herb showed off the actual console finally, the actual physical Xbox One X, just from watching it, or just from watching it on the stream, or just kind of viewing the actual console itself. It's like a slim PS2, an original PS2. It's
Well, they did show it on the Comic-Con, or not Comic-Con, but E3 floor.
Did
Like
they?
there were images. Yeah, oh yeah. People were taking pictures of it and whatnot.
Huh. Okay. I guess
Like the physical, like yeah, they just didn't show it at the conference, which was bizarre as hell to me.
Okay. It was my first time seeing it, so it Yeah,
I think what he's showing basically the unboxing. Now, just to be clear, this is also the Project Scorpio edition, not
true.
the standard one that'll be regular that everyone will get.
That's true.
Well,
I mean,
you want
it's pretty close. I think this is going to be the actual console. But
sure.
But just from the looks and just kind of looking as far as like what's being shown on screen, it's very slick. It's very simple. Very nothing really too out of the ordinary. Yeah, it's quite surprisingly like a small console. Like it's a skinny small console that you can take anywhere and small. Or in I already said that. Basically, it what surprised me.
More, yeah. It's slimmer.
Yeah, it's more compact and it's more.
Which, in all honesty, is kind of crazy considering the power that's in it.
Yeah, and on top of that, like when it comes to like portability, like that should be much easier than carrying around the other Xbox Ones, at least to my knowledge, because I remember the original Xbox One came out and it was a pretty hefty thing. Xbox One S I think was smaller but still kind of medium sized, and this is like the smallest, but it's like the most powerful. So that was
cool. Like it's we've talked about before how people are still gonna crap all over this to an extent. I mean, it's already sold out most places that it went online or went pre-order already, but the problem that I see is that a lot of people are still gonna crap all over it because it's a Microsoft console, and B, Microsoft is touting it to be the most powerful console, yada yada yada, which is just salesmanship at best. Every console is gonna say that they're the best at something. That's just how it is. I mean, Sony does the exact same thing, but no one seems to care or notice because they're like, it's Sony, just pat them on the head and let them go. No pat on the tush.
Yeah, for sure.
But people have to keep in mind that this is an option. That it's not the new console. It's not going to have exclusives on it. It's just an option between that or the S. And I want people to understand that, yes, it's pricey. That's the point. It's supposed to be pricey because it's got a lot more tech in it. This was a decision that Microsoft had to make. Basically saying, like, do we want to put out a $500 console, or do we want to try to give people options? And I think that's really brilliant. That being said, I'm really okay with the style. The one thing in that video that they showed that I didn't know it could do was stand up.
Yeah. I still caution to the wind when it comes to that, in terms of like I'm always afraid if it's standing up. Like I feel like at any given point, like it's gonna. I mean, I'm not sure how it is today in terms of like how the C drive is, if it's still that needle that reads disk. But like I still have that memory of like putting my Xbox 360 up, and then I put a game in and like it scratched the disc. So I'm like still kind of gun shy about the idea of putting it upright, but maybe it's a different type of CD drive today than it was back then. It's a Blu-ray drive.
Yeah,
so.
I'm still on board with you. I think their logic behind having it stand up is, generally speaking, and I could be wrong here, but this is the idea that I have, that Microsoft anticipates buyers of that console to do everything digitally.
Yeah, I think so too.
That way you don't have to worry about a disk drive.
I think so too. I think it's probably the big thing when it comes to that way they were showing it, because most physical media is kind of going away when it comes to games and everything's online. But I want to get into this. So this is off of MajorNielsen.com, off of their blog, and I'll post the link in the chat. Alongside the announcement and kind of showing off the Xbox One X at Gamescom, they also announced some of the games are going to be there. There's a long list of games in terms of like what exactly is going to be enhanced as of right now. And some of the games kind of read off of here. We got Dishonored 2, Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, Ultimate Evil Edition, Dead Rising 4, Conan Exiles, Assassin's Creed Origins, Ark Survivor Evolved, Gears of War 4, Firewatch, For Honor, Horizon 3, a crap ton of games. I mean, a good amount, I would say. I don't say a crap ton, but a good amount of games that are going to be in Xbox One X. They're going to use enhancements, and the enhancements in Xbox One X is the same thing as a PS4 Pro in terms of The only thing they're changing is they're just changing the graphics fidelity to be better than the previous version. They're not going to change the frames per second. One console's not going to be 30 versus 60. The only thing they're enhancing is just the graphics. But with that being said, I've seen some very, very nice looking games on the PS4 Pro, just like the Horizon on full 4K HD. Whew, man, it's a pretty game. That's a pretty game.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean that's exactly like. I am absolutely not a graphics hound. There's another phrase I have for that probably not as PC as everyone would like, but I do not care that much about graphics. Like, yes, if a game goes below 30 frames per second, I notice it because it's below 30 frames a second. But if it goes higher than that, I don't really notice, and I don't really care. I really, really enjoy stylized games. I'm not too keen on having everything look super realistic or having everything in 4K. But I know there are people that are, and I think that's great that this is the console for them. That's also if you are willing to shell out the $500. I know that there's an argument that's like, well, if you're going to spend $500 on a console, you might as well buy a PC. Well, 9 times out of 10, people buying this system are either A, don't give two craps about a PC and they just want the system, or B, they already have a PC.
Yeah.
And they just want the system.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I think it's important to remember that it's going to be something that people are going to enjoy, regardless of the price. And I already know this because, like I said, all the Project Scorpios in the country are sold out. Yeah.
It's the question is like, is an Xbox One X really something that we need, or is it something that at least in the current landscape, if you I'm just kind of finished my thought, like, I gave that thought, it's like, especially when it was announced, like, do we really need another console? Like, do we need something that, is kind of like a cell phone type of style in terms of like how the consoles have been coming out as of recently? But surprise, surprise, people actually do want it, and they've been selling out like hotcakes, but they've been selling really well with the pre-orders for the Xbox One X. So, I'm kind of surprised that's happened, but yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would definitely change the word need, because I think Microsoft wants people to understand, again, and I'm a broken record with this, the option. They definitely want you to have that option. You want to play these games, but how much do you want to play these games? Like, well, in what quality?
Yeah.
If you don't care that much, which I'm willing to bet that most don't, you're probably, and that's another thing, is most people don't even have 4K TVs.
Yeah, so, that's the big thing about that. It's like, it's cool the fact that these newer consoles can play at 4K resolution, but the problem is that there isn't a lot of, I want to say, like, if you want to put like how many people have 4K TVs in their house versus what we have now, like 720p or 1080p HD, then I would say that there's more of that than there are people with 4K. Like, and on top of that, there isn't that many things for 4K content. So it's like, you're future-proofing, but like at the same time, like, there isn't a whole lot to do with that right now. Yeah. So,
it's definitely, to me the One X is a want. But I just don't want to see people on the internet. I mean, they're going to, so I don't know why I'm saying that, but
you're just spitting.
It's frustrating, because it's like nobody wants to look at it from an objective standpoint. Everyone wants to put their opinion out there in regards to how they feel about Microsoft, or how they feel about the PlayStation versus the Microsoft. It's like PlayStation versus the Microsoft, PlayStation versus the Xbox. I personally don't want to ever look at consoles that way. Like, oh, the X is more powerful than the PS4 Pro. It's like, why is that a big deal? Why
Um,
is that such a big deal to you as a consumer?
it, do-
If A, if
I mean, it doesn't, but like at the same time, the whole argument for that really where it started from was the fact that like if you had money for one console, what would it be? And from there on
Sure,
out, it's justifying your purchase. If you have money and a job and able to afford both, then it doesn't matter or whatever. It's whatever suits you, honestly. Whatever your
yeah,
friends are on and whatnot. Especially nowadays, like especially with the PS4 and Xbox One, like they don't. There's not much difference between them. The only difference is just the exclusives. And even then, like all the games out right now, like are majority like multi-platform. So it doesn't matter.
right. As a matter of fact, Microsoft. I just read. I don't remember where. God, I want to say it was Kotaku. It might have been Polygon, but that Microsoft is pushing for no more exclusivity. Basically, like they're like, hey Sony, you want to have Halo on your system? Like they're trying to get Sony to do the same with their exclusives. Uh, because, and this is Microsoft's reasoning behind it, um, the console war is not helping anybody.
I think what it helps. I mean, like, it doesn't help anybody, but I think what it does do is competition, as far as like between companies and
Then I think that Sony and Microsoft should compete with consoles only, not with exclusives, because people don't care about exclusives nowadays anymore. If a game goes, "Hey, it's only on PlayStation," I don't hear the Xbox people going, "Wah, I can't play it." They're just like, "Oh, I'll play something else, whatever." Like most of the games that are desired after, most of the games that people want are not the exclusives. Those do not sell consoles, and the numbers show that.
it's true. That's true, actually. I mean, it kind. I'm kind of curious for us, like why people choose a particular console over the other in this generation. In previous generations, it was more or less like exclusives were a big thing.
Oh, a
Uh,
huge thing.
but when it comes
Huge thing.
when it comes to this generation, it's less of that. So I'm kind of wondering like what exactly are the reasons. And I'm pretty sure everybody has their own reason, whether it be because they've been a loyal customer of said company or that their friends have been with a certain console. There's a number of reasons for people wanting to buy a console or maybe be cheap. But yeah, I totally agree. Like exclusives are going away, and it's becoming less of a thing, especially this generation. They're still cool. Don't get me wrong.
Well,
There's some really
also,
awesome exclusives, but yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say also developers just don't. They don't want to put that kind of effort into making it for one system. They're not going to make as much money. Straight up, like Naughty Dog has publicly said, making games exclusively for PlayStation does not garner as much money as if we were to do it on multiple systems, including PC.
agreed.
Like Microsoft is brilliant with their exclusive situation because they can have it on both
Yeah,
PC and Xbox.
yeah,
So they're selling more.
yeah.
And if they could sell those same games on PlayStation, they'd sell even more. So I feel like this is a no goddamn brainer, but Sony is just stuck in their ways. Like I hate to say it, if Microsoft keeps pushing that, including the whole like cross-platform online play, like Sony needs to get on board straight up.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I have that story actually in this line of stuff. But speaking of exclusives, funny enough, Microsoft, and this is amongst the other Microsoft announcements from Gamescom. This is off of this is news.xbox.com, and this is written by. Oh no, this is just a statement. It's a PR statement. Gamescom 2017, Bluehole Incorporated and Microsoft announced expanded partnership for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Goes on to say, I'm the executive producer of PlayStation Unknown Battlegrounds and VP at Bluehole. CH Kim is his name. It was my pleasure to announce some exciting news for the Xbox player community around the world. I've been working in the games industry developing online titles for 17 years now and have always wanted to develop a battle royale game. In 2016, after I was finishing up the MMORPG, I was given a chance to start a new project, so I decided to try something different and create the battle royale game that I always wanted to make. While I was preparing for the project, I stumbled upon the guy called himself PlayerUnknown, who we all know is now a Brendan Jean. Whom at the time was running Battle Royale mods on top of other games. I contacted Brandon right away, and I was glad to bring him into our project. It just goes on to say like how he met with Microsoft. But basically, the deal that was made and what was announced was that the when it comes to consoles with PlayerUnknown's Battleground, you can only play the game right now or in the future when it comes out, or early access actually. I should back up on that statement. On the Xbox One. As far as like when it releases, I'm kind of unsure as far as like if it's going to be multi-platform. Cause I know it's on PC already. But in terms of like if it's going to be released like it's only a time exclusive, it might be that type of deal. But as of right now, when it comes to the consoles, like the Xbox One is the only place you can play the console version of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds if you buy into the early access, which is another crazy thing. The fact that they're now letting early access games, or at least the selected ones, to be played on Microsoft's platform on the Xbox One. So, kind of crazy, but that's kind of what's happening. So,
yeah, it's I mean, yeah. First off, PlayerUnknown is going to be. I mean, it already is huge, and it's.
Oh man.
Has it come out of beta?
No, the game is still not done yet.
Yeah.
Like the other thing I want to bring up was that what was it? I saw in the news story. I was looking through all the news stories for today. It surpassed Dota 2 as the most current player base playing the game right now, which is insane.
That seems. I was actually quite like not interested in it because it to me just looked like I don't know another H1Z1 or DayZ or whatever you want to call it, and I just wasn't interested in that. And then I watched some of those GTA 5 role players that I watch. They were playing it as a squad, and as I continued to watch them play it and saw how the game's mechanics worked, I got more and more interested.
Yeah. And they just did an esports thing at Gamescom actually, showcasing like this is gonna be an esports thing. So another avenue for them to kind of push their game. It's insane. It's insane. But Microsoft making that move, I think, is probably the smartest move. Strike when iron is hot, as they say.
Oh God, yeah, I completely agree with that. I think. Oh boy, I'm sorry. I think that. I think when that game reaches Xbox, like. It will be a huge thing. There will be millions of copies sold, easily, and I really, really hope, honestly, that Sony gets on board with that too, because extending that player base is going to be huge for that game. So,
yeah, definitely.
I mean, I understand why the developers went to Microsoft first because they could already kind of easily port it, but. If they could somehow get that to Xbox or PlayStation, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I think it's a time exclusive, but I could be wrong on that. We'll have to wait and see as far as like when it's finally finished, as far as like what the plans are for what platforms can be released for. But good on Microsoft to get on that because man, that game is selling insane amounts of copies, and that game hasn't been done yet. Moving on, following up on the Microsoft news front. So one of the big things, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier in the show, but this is off of GameReactor.com, or GameReactor.eu, I should say. This is written by 4James. Microsoft confirms they're in talks with Sony about crossplay. Gamescom 2017 is in full swing, and we caught up with the head of marketing at Xbox, Aaron Greenberg, in colleague, or I think it's a place. I cannot pronounce this place. I'm sorry for people who listen to us in the UK. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce this. Speaking with him at length about the new titles coming to the Xbox One X and the recently announced Scorpio Edition. Although one topic was touched on was the crossplay between different platforms. When asked if Microsoft has been discussing things further with Sony after the reluctance to partake in the Microsoft crossplay saga, this was Greenberg's response, quote, "Absolutely, yeah, we are talking to Sony about crossplay. About crossplay. We do partner with them on Minecraft, and of course, we would like to enable them to be part of that one community, to unite gamers. So we are talking to them, and we're hoping that they will be supportive of it," unquote. A short and sweet response from Mr. Greenberg, but promising all the same. And then it kind of asks, like, what game do you want to see cross-platform? That's cool. That's almost kind of going into the one console type future, but Microsoft is trying to make it work with Sony for cross-platform. I remember even like Harada of Tekken 7 of Bandai Namco, who was trying to do the same thing with their game and trying to get that cross platform as well, to where like Sony and Sony players to Microsoft Xbox One players can play each other. So it's really cool. I hope for the best that works out, but Sony seems to be the one that does not want to budge.
They're absolutely like pushing against it, and there's no real explanation as to why, other than they feel like, other than the obvious of like, well, if we do that, then people will just, why would they buy our console? Like, kind of that idea. But it's kind of like, you guys are back to like losing every month, so.
I think the other thing too about it I think the one other thing too about it is like, if you kind of ask this from Microsoft in terms of reverse roles, if Microsoft was selling a lot more than Sony, like, would they then go and say, hey, let's cross-platform into our games with their games? I think that the other reason being the fact that since Sony is ahead in the quote-unquote console wars, or just selling a lot more than Microsoft, that they don't.
No, it's the other way around right now.
Sorry, say again?
It's the other way around right now.
Is Microsoft outselling Sony right now?
All of 2017, from all the reports that I've read.
Oh, okay.
Not by a lot. Like, it's still pretty even kill, but it's like 50 to 100 more every month. Maybe a little bit more than that, but here, I'll see if I can't find it. But yeah, like, they're either on an even kill or they're losing. And again, losing is in quotation marks, because let's be honest, it's not that bad, but after the tremendously bad launch, Microsoft has definitely adjusted a lot of things and made the console more desirable. So
yeah, they definitely turned it around from that day, from what happened during that day, and the debacle that happened. They really turned around, and they're definitely a much more friendlier, consumer-friendly company and console, relatively to the Sony PS4 right now. I hope it works. I hope the fact that Microsoft persuades Sony into the cross-platform, because that would change the ball game for almost everybody. In a future where I could play you, Greg, on say, not my PS4, which I don't have right now, but we'll just say for sake of that, in this example, I have a PS4, you have an Xbox One. We play each other in we play with each other in Cuphead, or we play in Tekken 7, and we could play each other. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's really cool, and for the consumer, that's awesome. And it kind of boils down to like, well, then the whole console war type of idea kind of goes away even more so than where it's at right now. So like, having that future is awesome and great, and then it just comes down to just companies and games as far as like what they can do to make a better game, and it doesn't matter what platform it releases on. It's kind of weird in a way, just thinking about it, just like having the idea of being able to play somebody on another console. I think it's just weird. I'm just kind of thinking about it right now. It's weird because, like, again, I've been playing games for a long time. Like, I've always been that mentality of like, my console's better than your console, or like, I can't play you because I only have this console. So maybe if I come to your house, or if I somehow get another console to play you, it's that's the only way I can do it. But kind of thinking about it, it's just like it's weird to say it, but it's also at the same time like, I think it's probably maybe for the better for the game industry.
Sure. I by the way, just to throw this out there, as of 2017, the beginning of 2017, Sony has sold 60.1 million units, while Microsoft has sold 29.5 million units. That was the beginning of this year. Every month after has been pretty fucking close.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's it's getting to the point. That was my whole point of getting this, finding this article, was that it's getting to the point where, the console war isn't such a big thing anymore.
Yeah, it isn't. It really isn't. Actually, just thinking about it, it really isn't. It's it's becoming to the point where it doesn't matter anymore, and at the same time, like the next thing then would be the only thing that matters is just the games and how they use their consoles to however they can make it, better or whatever. So it's like now it would be, if this falls through, say this works out, then it goes down to basically the game companies. It's like, all right, the barrier as far as like which console to which console is being sold on is gone. Now you gotta make a game that the best of your abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to that.
Yep.
It's freaking wild just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, but we got moving on to our next news story, which is also a Microsoft story. This one actually kind of all the positive things we said. This is the one thing that I saw this and it's like, oh, well, it makes sense. But and actually, I got a thing for this, some B-roll for this stuff right here. Here we go. Okay. Microsoft discontinues the original Xbox One. This is reported by Engadget.com by David Lum. Microsoft has stopped selling the new Xbox One consoles in the US and UK. Technically, it's listed as sold out on the Microsoft Store and doesn't even show up in searches for Xbox systems. It seems the original version of the console that launched in November 2013 has been retired. All hail the slimmer S and the souped-up X versions. If you wanted to, you can still buy a refurbished original Xbox One for $200 on the Microsoft Store, which is $50 to $80 cheaper than you can find its replacement. The Xbox One S, or you can join the horde of the site users who already pre-ordered the big but undisclosed amount of Xbox One X for $500 and wait for the launch on November 9th. So, end of an era for the Xbox One original console. And and it's funny, I looked it up because when I saw this news story, I looked it up as far as like when was this released, and it was in 2013. It's when this console launched with the Xbox One with Microsoft. And I thought about it. It's 2017. It's 4 years. They're discontinuing this. It's about usually around the 5-year mark is when the these big companies start producing new consoles. Usually, with the exception of the last generation, that was a very very special exception. The fact that they lasted that long, it's like nearly 9-10 years.
Yeah, but this is actually excellent news if you ask me. I think if you're gonna have your better version of the original Xbox be the same price as the original Xbox, then it's probably a good idea that you discontinue the old one. Like, if I have three things, I have three apples, right? One apple is amazing. The second apple, it tastes even better, but is like slightly smaller. And then the third apple is like the greatest thing I've ever put in my mouth, but I can only afford the first two. Yeah, I'm gonna not take. This is a terrible analogy. Jesus Christ, this is the worst analogy I've ever come up with in my life. This doesn't work at all because you take the bigger, cheaper apple. What the hell am I talking about? The idea that I'm getting at is that the Xbox original and Xbox One S are kind of the same system. The Xbox One S is just a slightly better version of it, just because they modified the guts and whatnot. So yeah, get rid of that old shit. Get rid of it. Good. Make only the One S and the One X available.
Doesn't the Xbox One S, does that have the Blu-ray drive? I remember hearing that it didn't.
The One S? It has a disc drive.
No, Blu-ray.
I don't know if it's Blu-ray.
Okay. I remember hearing that.
Okay, Google. Does the Xbox One S have a blue disc drive? You didn't hear a word I said, did you? Oh, there we go. Nope, I didn't ask about vulvas. No, there we go. Get into
Technology people. Technology.
It just took a hot second. It was like, I'm trying to process everything you said. Regardless, I even on that note, Anthony, I think who cares if it does? And I'll explain why. 9 times out of 10, if you have Blu-rays that you're still watching, you probably have a Blu-ray disc player, and they're still available. If you're worried about them going out of stock, go buy like fucking 20 of them for $20 a piece, because that's how cheap they are. Secondly said, the Xbox One X does have a Blu-ray disc player. I know that for a fact.
Oh yeah. They're touting that thing is the most powerful thing on the earth. So, yeah.
So that being said, I don't think I have watched a Blu-ray disc ever. If I want to see a brand new movie that just came out, I'm just gonna rent it digitally. Like, I keep looking at a camera that doesn't exist. Yeah, I'm just gonna rent it digitally. I mean, sure, I could go to the Redbox and rent the movie for $3 and then come home and watch it and then return it. But the gas that I'm spending to get there goes in lieu with the total $6 that I could rent it digitally and get it at the highest quality possible because it's a digital rental.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, and that's your choice. I've seen Blu-ray before. The quality is super good. Like, I think I was watching a Blu-ray version of the Odyssey movie when it came out, and it looked so good. It looked like as if it was painted onto the screen. It was pretty sick. But aside from that, you know, it's the end of the.
Like I said, I'm sorry. Like I said, it's not. I think it's fine to. I think it's a-okay to go. Well, sorry. The Xbox One S does have a Blu-ray disc drive.
Oh, okay.
I think it's totally fine to sit there and go, well, I want a Blu-ray disc player in my system. I think that's absolutely okay, especially if you have a collection of Blu-ray discs. But I'm going to give you a heed of caution here. I used to have a gigantic collection of DVDs, and it was one of the best ideas I had to get rid of all of it. Because everything that I had in that collection, A, I gained money from, and B, I don't need. Everything in my collection I can find online. Everything. So why would I need to increase that by needing a Blu-ray disc or even a DVD player at that point on my system? See what I'm saying?
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yep. I hear you.
You gotta get with the times or get left behind. I mean, it's your choice. It's ultimately your choice if that's something that is important to you. If you go, well, I want to have, like, if they're gonna tout the Xbox One as a all-in-one console, then they should absolutely have that. And I want to play my Blu-ray discs on it. More power to you. I'm just giving you a counter as to why it doesn't matter that much to most people.
Agreed. But yeah, it is an end of an era when it comes to the console when it was first launched, and it's surprised me the fact that it's already been almost 4 or 5 years since that console launched. Time flies when you're covering the game industry or playing games for that matter.
It's I'm kind of surprised to hear it, honestly. Like, I bet it does make total sense why they're getting rid of it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, they're pushing the Xbox One X, so you know that need more money and spare parts to make more Xbox One X consoles. Speaking of consoles and scarcity, this past week. Hang on. Do I have? Oh, right. No, right. Nintendo. That's right. That's right. I gotta make a mental note. I can't play no Nintendo in this this stream, or else they'll flag. That's right. I totally forgot. Then the SNES Classic came out, or the pre-orders for it came out this past week. It was, dare I say what happened the last time, and it was pretty bad. Nonetheless, it went up with different websites, Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, and they were sold out within minutes, and it was pretty much a shit show. What a lot of people are saying what it is, what it is. It was insane. I took part in it, and I was trying to get one myself. I was literally on the checkout. I had the item in my cart, but when I went to go and buy it out, it kicked me out because so many people were doing that at the same time. What I later didn't find out was that people who were getting these consoles really quickly and selling out so fast is some of the people who were doing that had bots doing like auto clicking for them and just cheating pretty much to get in a console so they can either buy it for themselves or as of right now, as you saw in eBay, scalpers who are selling them for twice as much or 3 times as much as the original price. It's pretty crappy, especially after Nintendo has said like, we plan to create a lot more than what happened last year, and hoping that this situation doesn't happen again. And well, it happened again, but even twice as hard as it did last year with the NES Classic. And I thought about it, and it's like, Nintendo went out there and tried to make more consoles. They gave it to the buyers. Really, who's at fault here? Is it people gaming the system? Is it Nintendo not making enough quantity for people to get? So, out of curiosity, Greg, did you see the madness that happened this past week when it came to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a bunch of friends who were, to a lesser extent, furious that there wasn't enough, that scalpers were using bots, that the website crashed that they were using. I think Walmart crashed at one point, or Target, one of the two.
Yeah.
It was a pardon the French, clusterfuck. Truly was. It's a problem, and we've had this conversation. We had this conversation last year when the NES Classic went up for pre-order. Mm-hmm. Almost identically the same thing happened. And, we're going to add more. Okay? You didn't.
Yeah.
Or if you did, it's not showing. So, I'm on board with a lot of people right now, and that's just like, you know what, Nintendo? You don't deserve my money if you're going to treat this thing like that. This is quite literally a toy. You should be mass producing this toy, but you're not.
Yeah.
Because it's a special item. It's not a goddamn event skin in a Overwatch loot crate. It is, or loot box. It is quite literally a expensive toy that a lot of people with nostalgia want. The fact you're not willing to make that money is beyond crazy to me.
Yeah, and like the thing about this too is like Nintendo has a history of this. I mean, like, just, it's funny.
Literally, Anthony, they have a history that dates back to the original NES.
And I was about to say, like, because funny enough, it happened to be in my Facebook feed, and I saw a very old, it was 1980s, like, very old video, of a news report as far as, like, people waiting in line, and just consoles were selling out, but they were not enough for even them for people to buy. So Nintendo has been doing this the entire time they've been in the US. I'm not sure if it's the same thing in Japan or in other places, but like when it comes to the US,
it's worldwide.
Is it worldwide? Okay, all right.
Oh cool. Yeah.
So like we shouldn't be surprised, honestly. Like we've seen this history. We've seen the amiibos like go sell like hotcakes, and then people were hard time to buy them, but after a while it stabled off. But like history repeats itself. Nintendo, either they're stuck in their ways, or rather, they just underpredict, like as far as like how many they're gonna sell. I think it's a combo. I think it's a combo of that, and they, from what I understand, they use the wrong facts to determine how they're gonna sell it. Like they did go like, well, the NES Classic was so sought after and we got a lot of flack for that, so we'll make more SNES Classics. And it's like, okay, it seems like you're learning, and then this happens, and I'm like, Nintendo, you ain't learning a damn thing. Yeah.
It's crazy to me. When Sony and Microsoft come out with a new system, they produce the hell out of it.
Yes.
But what does Nintendo do? Underproduce it. I just do not understand.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Just gonna read this because I did bring this up, or I did bring this up for the story. This was reported off of CNET.com, written by Sean Hollister. I sure hope you weren't hoping to pre-order the Super NES Classic Edition, the pint-sized remake of one Nintendo's most beloved game consoles, because Nintendo doesn't seem to want your $80, £80, or Australian $120. How else would you explain what loyal Nintendo fans went through in the past 18 hours? We woke up this morning to find that Best Buy and Amazon, two of only 6 retailers pledged to carry the SNES Classic, had launched their pre-orders late at night or in the wee hours of the morning at 3 a.m. with no warning whatsoever. We didn't find any email notifications in our inbox, even though we were signed up. Which, put this in the chat for who wants to read it. But like, this happened when this is happening. Like, I remember staying up one night because I forgot what I was doing. I think I was watching streamers working on some stuff, and I saw like my Twitter timeline just going nuts. Like, hey, Amazon is selling the SNES classics right now at like 2-3 in the morning. I was like, why? At that hour. So yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. It's a crap show. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes when it's unveiled or when it's officially launched. They did say, the retailers did say they're gonna have more consoles to sell on the day of. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna sell out pretty quickly, and I don't know. Nintendo's gonna get their money. So yeah. Moving on into the next news story. Let's see. Did I get the right one? I think it's so. Hang on. Oh, wrong one. Oops. Hang on. There we go. Okay. So, this is reported off of Polygon.com, written by Ben Kutra. HTC Vive VR headset gets $200 price cuts. The HTC Vive virtual reality headset now costs $600, a $200 reduction from the starting price of $799. Quote, I think this is going to make it more attractive to consumers and much more attractive to business, and we feel confident this is going to be something that drives an enormous uptick as we move into the holiday season, unquote, Richard Staber, president of Viveport, told Polygon. The big question of whether this is done in reaction to the recent price drop of the Oculus Rift, quote, I don't think so. Bullshit. I think we are in the leader in the market, and the plan was always that high-end VR be available to everyone, unquote. Stabler said, so of course that there are a couple of components that need to fall into place in order to reach the mass market. You need to have a lower price point. Bingo. That's been the plan all along. I think it's good that other players are in the market are making similar moves. Put the article in the chat, which he hits it right on the head, because we asked this question a year ago. This actually was about this time too. The PlayStation VR was launching at this time in September, November, or October, I think it was. And we asked the question, and something that it surprised me because there were a good amount of PSVR headsets or PSVR headsets that were being bought at a good rate, and it showed like there was a lot of interest. A year later from now, outside of Resident Evil 7, I've not seen that many companies really utilize VR. And maybe there are some games, like, don't get me wrong, there are some VR games, but not enough of them, or to say like VR is the next big thing in the game industry. And a year out from all the VR headsets being sold out to or sold to the mass public, I made the question again, like, is VR viable? Like, as far as I know, like, with this price drop, I think that he hits the nail on the head. For VR to be more sustainable in the game industry, the price drop needs to happen so that people can buy them. Because right now, the price drop, or the prices for these VR headsets, if it's not the PlayStation VR, these are very expensive things. On top of that, you have to have a pretty good PC to run these. So the price barrier is the biggest barrier that's holding back the VR. And now a year later, they're starting to figure it out, at least with the HTC Vive and with the Oculus Rift. So the jury's still out.
Yeah.
The jury's still out when it comes to VR.
I personally feel that VR is unfortunately like it's a little too late, and I feel like, and I could be absolutely wrong. I could be 110% wrong. So please take it for that. But I do truly feel that it's too little, too late, and that by the time the price drop becomes a thing, not enough people will care, and it'll be dead in the water. I really do. But again, I could be wrong. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think, again, I keep saying this. VR in the game industry, I don't think I see a future in. I think it will provide cool experiences. I've tried the VR before, like the PlayStation 4 VR. It's actually really cool. It's really awesome. But in general with the game industry, I don't think there's much of a future in it. It kind of feels like a Kinect kind of phase. But outside the game industry, like I feel like obviously it's much better used for the medical field, much better used for other uses other than games. So
Sure.
yeah,
I mean, like the Kinect was.
yeah, for sure. Like I remember hearing that people were using the Kinect to actually make their games. Like they had a way to where they hacked it or plugged it to their PC to where they were actually doing like in-house mocap, like the usually you would see out of like big game companies, but they were doing it with Kinect. So there's obviously a much better uses outside of the game industry for VR, but in the game industry, I think it's at this moment kind of like in a Kinect phase. Like it's not. It's there. People can take it out. It's fun for about a good hour or two or more, but it's not as people said. And I think you and I were on the same page with this. It was going to be another 3D TV. Like it wasn't going to be the next big thing for the game industry. And I called it out. A lot of people did, but it was just told you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had a chance to play with VR, and it is fun as hell.
Oh yeah,
it's just unfortunately, like I said, it's just too pricey. It's just way too pricey right now.
Agreed.
And I hope that once the price comes down and people start seeing it as a viable entertainment source, that it does well. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it right now.
Agreed. Whether this will change as far as like putting the price down is a good thing. It's. No, I'm just thinking about it. I don't think it would. Well, it helps. But I don't know. There's still a lot of factors involved regarding VR and whether it can be a major factor in the game industry. So, as far as I could say, another year from now, we can check in and say, is it still relevant? I think my gut instinct is saying no, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep. Moving on to our next news story. Something that I think you and I really love, this company. Let me get this set up real quick. Hopefully this is the right one. Nope, wrong one. Here we go. Yes! Yacht Games. Yacht Club.
Yacht Club,
sorry. Yacht Club Games. They announced this past week that two announcements actually. Shovel Knight on Windows Store Battletoads Encounter coming to the PC. We're hard. This is no author. We're hot off the heels of the Spectre of Torment with even more excitement to share. We even have a special surprise in store for you to hop onto it. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove includes an award-winning game as well as upcoming free updates. It may not be new news to the most ardent of Shovel Knight historians, but we're glad we could now make this release a reality. It has been hang on, black screen. It may not make this reality. It has been our goal to have Shovel Knight reach players everywhere across all kinds of different platforms and devices with Windows 10 and the Windows 10 Windows Store. Players can find the Solar Blue Knight just by typing in the name, yada yada yada. Basically saying that there is going to be actually a it's called Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. It's going to be all of the past DLCs in one package, kind of like game of the year type of situation. But what I really want to get down to, and actually let me make sure I get that, make sure I have that on loop. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. All right, cool, awesome. The Battletoads are headed to all PC versions of Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. In addition to the Windows Store, you'll be able to brawl with the best of them on Windows, Mac, and Linux from Steam Humble, GOG.com, or ShovelKnight.com. Rash, Sits, and Pimple will drop in via for update later in October. And they put out some gifts, which I have on stream right now, of like the levels. I did not realize the fact that like they literally put a Battletoads level in Shovel Knight, and you get to play through it.
Had you ever watched any of my streams, Anthony, you'd know that.
Well, I did not. So
I've played the Battletoads stuff quite a bit because every time I stream Shovel Knight, just because I have nothing else to stream, I usually get asked to show the Battletoads stuff since it's exclusive to Xbox. Well, it was, but now that the Battletoads are. They're going to be on everything, right? Like every available system?
Yeah, it's going to be on everything, so...
That's what I thought. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Like, everyone gets to experience that. I realistically don't think that there should be direct exclusives for Shovel Knight on each system, but I totally get why. Like, the game had come out already on Nintendo, on the Wii U and then the 3DS, and nobody else could get it unless you had one of those two systems, which kind of sucked. And now that it's coming to PC is awesome. Now, since it's been on PlayStation and Xbox, like it's been fantastic. And I know that they're like, well, buy our games. Like I'm a huge Shovel Knight fan. If you don't know, I'm an enormous Shovel Knight fan.
I think we can say we both are. So.
Well, it's like I don't know. It's made it into my top some of my top games, but I've bought it for my 3DS so I could play it. Then I bought it for my Xbox. Then I bought it for my nephew's PS4. Then I bought it for my buddy's Wii U. So I think it has actually been on PC already. Like I believe it was on Steam. But the fact that like the Treasure Trove is coming to the Windows Store is really cool.
Yep, yeah. So I cannot wait to play the Battletoads because I was looking at the gifs of what they're showing. I was like, so. They put an actual from the looks of it looks like they just straight up put a level of Battletoads in the game, including
what it is. What I can tell you what it is because
okay.
like I said, I played it a ton of times. So you know that stage where you have to kill the ghosts with the orbs to, like it's basically the Kickstarter room.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to pay $5,000 to get into it.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When you're doing that stage, there's a wall on the far east side of that entire stage that if you shovel down on like a specific spot, it'll open up into a secret room. In that secret room is another secret room in which you can grab the scroll, which also, this is the same if you have the PS4 version to get that secret. So you can just fight Kratos. Once you pick up that scroll, beat the level, and then a new stage will open up that has the Battletoads logo. When you start the stage, the Toads show up and talk to you about taking out the evil queen, and then you're like, well, there's an enchantress that I'm trying to defeat, and they're like, well, if we know anything about beating up evil queens, you come talk to us, we can train you. And so the first part is the drop down where you're on the rope. And it plays just like Battletoads.
Nice.
You can cling to the side of the wall, come off of it really hard and fast. But I think I don't remember if you turn into a bowling or to a a destruction ball, a demolition ball thing, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think you turn into that. I think you just spin. But you have to fight the Battletoad himself until he's half health, then go through a stage with obstacles and all that kind of stuff, then fight him again as he's full health, and once you beat him, then you do Turbo Tunnel. Turbo Tunnel is almost as hard as the NES version, but shorter, with checkpoints.
Nice.
So it's maybe half of what Turbo Tunnel was, and like I said, you get checkpoints. But it plays just as difficultly. So you hit anything, and you fly off your speeder thingy.
Oh man.
But here's the clincher. So you actually have to fight a Battletoad at the beginning, get him to half health, then do all the obstacles, then fight the Battletoad again with some obstacles.
Wow.
It is tough. It is tough.
Goddamn.
Then, it's not over yet. After you beat Turbo Tunnel, then you have to fight the third Battletoad in just a square off until you beat him. And he uses like all the classic, like the ram horn, the big boot. He even calls in his brothers. One's on a rope, one's on the speeder bike.
Damn.
I don't know if they're brothers. I actually don't know if the Battletoads are brothers.
I don't know the lore in the Battletoads, but like that's still pretty cool. I mean, I assume they're brothers, you know, because they're all.
But yeah, that like everyone getting to experience that is awesome. Is it everyone or just Windows players?
Windows, I believe it's Windows and everybody else. Because when I saw that, then
I thought I said everybody's getting it. Is what I thought I read.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm on double check. But it's super fun because like PlayStation kind of got screwed. Their Kratos fight is really lame. The Kratos fight is essentially he shows up, you fight him until I think he's almost dead, and then the stage completely changes to where you're falling and you have to jump from platform to platform while still attacking him. And he's at full health again. And then once you beat him in basically 2 boss battles, you basically get his Blades of Chaos.
Oh, okay.
And which is super cool. It's actually way cooler than the Battletoads one. The Battletoads one is neat. It's cool on a nostalgic level, but it is not useful. Reason being is that basically when you're attacking, you can't move at all. Like you're just stuck there, like a Battletoad. And then when you do the down strike, you go through things. You don't bounce off.
I see. Wow.
So yeah, it's borderline useless because of that one little thing. But no, okay, so yeah, it's no, the Battletoads are not going to Nintendo or PlayStation. They're just going to be on PC.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's anything. It's anything that runs Microsoft and or Xbox.
Okay, I mean, yay for me.
I was like, half
PC.
Half PC users.
Yep, for sure. Okay, I'm pretty excited to play it. So when it comes out, I'll be sure to stream it and then trying to get through all that crazy hardness.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super cool. Like it's definitely play with the Battletoad armor, but I would just do the first stage, just because like it's really tough. Like you're not going to be able to get past the bubbles in the first stage.
We'll see about that. I mean, to kind of sidetrack it. You ever played the original Battletoads, like, and tried to pass that part?
Again, you clearly don't watch my streams. When I bought the rare replay pack, I played Battletoads. I think they had the NES one. I think they had 3 total. I could be wrong. It might have just been 2. It might have been the NES one and the arcade one, but the NES one is one of the hardest games I've ever played.
Yeah, I remember playing that back in the day, and I just could not do it. I tried.
The rare replay pack having save states helped immensely, but like there was a whole stage where it's like it was like, you remember that hard stage in the Ninja Turtle game where you had to like swim under the dam and there was like the electric stuff coming off the walls and stuff, and you would like accidentally take damage just because everything was floaty in the controls of the water.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but 10 times worse. That's the stage. That's this one water stage in Battletoads, the original Battletoads.
You can't see my face right now, but my face is just like scrunched. I'm just like ugh.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of like, hey, we want to make sure that people have a long time with this game, so we'll make everything stupid hard. Have fun. But I do take pride in beating the Turbo Tunnel without save states. So
yeah, I hear it. There's much more of accomplishment. Oh,
anyway, to the next story, because Jesus Christ, we exhausted this one.
I know. Our next story. Now, this actually, for me, is a bit more sentimental. It's also that the fact that this guy just kind of just did it over Twitter, like, just nonchalantly. Let me. Okay, so this is probably going to be the last time we're going to talk about anything Half-Life. One of the writers of the original Half-Life 3 game that was in production at Valve, apparently the NDA went up this past week. It was 10 years for the contract, and it went up. And he didn't really release the entire story word for word in terms of like who the characters are, but obviously the characters that were in there were just substitute for other names so that he won't get sued. But the guy is named Mark Laidlaw. He released the story of Half-Life 2 Episode 3 or Half-Life 3 as far as what exactly happened or what was going to happen after the ending of Episode 2. And for years, including myself, like we were left on a cliffhanger as far as like what had happened, what was going to happen, and because the ever-growing question like will Valve ever make a Half-Life 3 or Episode 2 or Half-Life 2 Episode 3, like we were never given any yes or no or anything, and they kept saying like it's being made, but it's like it's not really nothing really confirmed. The story, I read the story. I am honestly, when I read it, I am very much more at ease. I am more content as far as like what was written and what was told, and it finally answered the questions that a lot of people were wondering. And this has been a game that's been mostly asked for a very long time, 10 plus years.
Oh god, yeah.
So, and it's kind of confirmed. And they didn't really say it, but the talk I've been hearing after reading this and kind of talking to other people, like this all kind of confirms the fact that like Valve's not gonna make Half-Life 3 or Half-Life 3 Episode 3. They're never.
We had this conversation a few weeks ago about how we were debating whether or not they were actually going to finish it. We both agreed that it just never was going to happen.
Yeah, the Valve today is not the Valve back then. The Valve today is Steam platform and Dota 2. That's their two most money makers. And
yeah, I truly do not expect to see any like. It's a shame too, because I'd love a Left 4 Dead sequel. I'd love Left 4 Dead 3. I'd love a Team Fortress 3. I'd love a Portal 3. But we're probably not ever going to see those.
Yeah. It was cool. It was very cool of Mark to really just kind of put out the story. But the funny thing is like as soon as I felt like at ease, I was like I can finally let go. He tweets out like, well, the other writers that worked on the story as well, they also have stuff that they could release too if they wanted to. And it's like, god damn it. It's like the funny thing even about this plotline they released, like there was even another cliffhanger on this one. Although it's not as bad as the last one, but it's just it leaves it open ended for a possible if there ever was a Half-Life 3 that possible for which is I find it kind of funny, but I think for a lot of us, it's just this is something that a lot of us who played the original Half-Life games, Half-Life 1, 2, and the expansions, like we were just pins and needles. So it was like, what was going to happen? Because it left off on a very big cliffhanger, and Half-Life has been huge, at least in my lifetime. It's been huge when it came out. It definitely revolutionized the first-person shooter genre as we know today. But I will say, and I won't spoil anything for those who want to read it. It's in the chat. This would have been a lot. It's been a lot of fun. It may have not innovated anything, but the story, as far as what was written, it would have been a lot of fun to play out. So, yeah.
Oh, sorry, fans of the franchise. You get nothing. You drink fizzy lifting drink, and now I have to clean the ceilings.
What I will say to end it off is that I've been seeing people, because I've been wondering if people are going to make the game out of this story or something, using the Steam animation program to animate it out.
They could. They absolutely could. That would be super interesting to see.
Yep. So what I did see recently is that people are coming together to do a game jam about this. Actually, they're actually using this.
Oh wow!
They're actually using this to make it a game. And game jams usually last for like a couple days, I want to say. Like they usually do like this little crunch time as far as like just fun projects to do. Somebody's making a game jam of it, and people are coming together to make this to make this actual game. I am very excited to see what that is, and I'd be more than happy to play it. So
yeah, same. I don't know, same here. I'd like to see it.
Yes, I would be just happy with just a cinematic animatic or just.
Well,
pictures.
The reason I say see, like I'd love for them to make a game. The reason I say see is because I never really played the first game, and I barely played any of the second game, so I have no interest, like stock, personally in it. And but like I know that fans do, and I'd love to see what that would look like if they could make that happen.
Agreed. So, farewell Half-Life 3. We can now put you to rest. And I think that might have been the last legendary game aside from Beyond Good and Evil 2. I can't think of any other games that like people really want a sequel to, because I think like all the old games that people wanted to are now out there or in the process. Even Shenmue got a freaking sequel. Shenmue 2 to 3 right now. So even So moving on to our next news story, which is kind of I bunched into this one because it's there's a lot this past week. Gamescom, as we kept talking about this past week. They've released the awards for who won, and I'm gonna make it fun, and I'm gonna ask you, Greg, as far as like who you think won in each category.
Okay.
So, all right, so
we'll play this game. Let's do it.
Yes.
I'm in.
So first on the list, Gamescom Indie Award.
Okay.
So. Okay, well, there isn't any list of, well, it's just the name of the title of the game. So guess what indie game might have gotten an award from Gamescom?
This game sucks, Anthony. Sorry. I'm gonna go with Owlboy. I don't honestly know.
It's called Double Kick Heroes Headbang Club.
Would have never gotten that, like. Is there any way you can give me multiple choice? Can you find a website that does that so this game is a lot more fun? Because
I don't think I can. I don't think I can actually, because like in award shows, like they'll have nominations for games, but like because it's at a E3 like events, like there's too many games. So, but what I'll do is I'll do something better for you. I'll make it easier. I'll go to the categories that makes it much easier to guess on.
Okay.
So. Gamescom. Oh, hang on. Switch to me. Gamescom Most Wanted Consumer Award.
Most Wanted. So how are you going to make this easier? Just out of curiosity.
So I'm only going to choose the categories that I feel it's easier to guess in, rather than like say, hey, what's the best indie award? What indie company would it go to? Or that was at Gamescom. So
okay, so this was the most wanted game? Is that what you said?
Yes, Most Wanted Consumer Award.
Most Wanted Consumer Award. Jeez. And they give awards to AAA titles, right?
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Nope. The answer is Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, I should have guessed that one. Dang it. Gosh, dang it.
Okay. Let's see. So, we're going to move up here. Okay. What was the best multiplayer game out of Gamescom?
Best multiplayer game? PUBG.
Nope. Went to Destiny 2.
So, son of a... You know what's funny about the last one? I was going to say Destiny 2. I was going to be like, yeah, Destiny 2 is the most wanted game, but... All right, well, here we are. All right, what's the next one?
Okay. Best strategy game.
Best strategy game? Civ 6.
No. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Excuse me.
I know, right?
I mean, I want to play that game because I'm super curious about it, but is it that good? Is it good enough to win an award?
I've been hearing a lot of good things about that game, surprisingly. That game's
That's
actually
awesome.
Yeah, it's XCOM with Mario in it, and he has a gun, which I still can't wrap my head around. All right, let's see what else I can throw at you. Okay, so what about? Okay. best console game for the Microsoft Xbox One. That's gonna come out. Well, that was shown at the Gamescom floor.
And this is exclusively to Xbox, like
Yes,
these are
exclusive to Xbox.
Cuphead.
Nope. Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
If that's exclusive to Xbox, I thought that was multi-system.
I think so. Wait. Warner Brothers Interactive, isn't it? Hang on, I need to double check on that one.
I'm pretty sure.
Middle Earth Shadow. Hang on, I'm doing a live correction on stream right now. Let's see. It's on PC, it's on Microsoft. Give me a second here. PS4. Okay. Then yeah. Okay. Well.
So it's one of those awards that's like. It's not exclusive, but they could totally give it to that category. So it's all right.
Yeah. Okay, that's a weird one. Yeah. So okay. All right. Best console game for Sony PlayStation 4.
Let's go with Uncharted, the new one.
That game is already out. I'll give you a second chance. That game was Uncharted. The new one is already out.
Okay, so these are upcoming games.
Yeah, upcoming game. Yeah.
Okay. Destiny 2.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Really? Wow. Why? That's so weird.
I know.
Because like, there's no 4K version of that on the PlayStation.
No, but I don't know. I mean, it's a good looking game, and don't get me wrong. Like I'm not really into the new Assassin's Creed, honestly, but I mean, it plays like every other Assassin's Creed game. It looks good. I don't know.
No, I mean, I have nothing against the game itself. I just find that interesting that they gave the award to or on the PlayStation and not like. You see what I'm saying? Like, the Xbox version is the better version of the game, but they gave it to the PlayStation. Like
Yeah.
Whatevs.
Yeah. Okay, so best hardware.
Best hardware, Nintendo Switch.
At Gamescom?
Yeah.
Xbox One X. I was trying to throw like a lob ball to you on that one. I was like, well, we just talked about that in the beginning of the show.
No, well, okay, on that note, just because the Xbox One X is the most powerful system doesn't mean that it could win best hardware. Because the Switch is a different type of hardware. It competes with the Xbox One X because A, it's a different type of system because it's portable and home, whereas the Xbox One X is just super fucking beefy.
Yeah. I mean, we could have a whole conversation about that another day.
It wasn't a bad guess. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
I'll do two more. Then we can move on. Best console game for the Nintendo Switch.
Best console game for the Nintendo Switch. Odyssey.
Yep, Super Mario Odyssey. And then best of Gamescom.
Best of Gamescom. Oh boy. What game at Gamescom, or just in general, because at this point I don't know, would they have seen that made them go, hey, oh, you might have spoiled it for me. I'm gonna go with Odyssey.
Damn it. Alright, well, yeah, it was Odyssey. Yeah.
For the listeners
Yep.
who are listening or watching this afterwards, Anthony straight up put the link in the chat as I was looking for the answer. And the link itself just says Super Mario Odyssey Gamescom Awards.
Oh, I didn't realize the fact that the link said that. Alright, well, that's my bad. Yeah, Super Mario Odyssey won it. But yeah, there you go, guys. You can check out the entire list of what won at the Gamescom. Moving on to our last bit of news before we get to the big old Overwatch minutes. That's going to be, I'd say, more like 10 minutes, honestly. What was it? Okay, so this one, this one I find interesting for the fact that like it's kind of I'm starting to see this a bit more often. And do I have anything for this? Let's see. No, I don't. Okay, that's right. All right. Actually, I did some for something else. Okay, so this is off of. Let's see. AutoQuest.com. This is by Mike Temborel. Crunchyroll forming partnerships to begin publishing games. For any modern fan of anime, Crunchyroll is particularly a household name, no matter where in the world you may happen to live. As a streaming platform for Japanese anime and Asian drama, Crunchyroll has firmly cemented itself as one of the premier destinations for legal viewing of some of our favorite forms of entertainment, and have remained a positive force in the industry due in no small part to the amazing care they tender to fans and subscribers. The company has dipped its toes into other seas of the industry, including manga, semi-publishing, the investing of its own cash into production communities for new anime works, and even physical home video distribution. The evolution is not stopping there, however. Crunchyroll and its parent company, Elation, along with Japanese Sumitomo Corporation, have announced a partnership with mobile game developer and publisher Gree, wherein Crunchyroll will localize and distribute It Is Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. I cannot pronounce this. Memorial Freeze is its initial phase in a long-term partnership. And I'll post a full link in the chat for those who want to read it. So Crunchyroll is going into game publishing for mobile games, which is interesting to see that because as of recently, Game Grumps went into publishing with their own game, which what was it called? It was Dream Daddy, which came out recently and it's been pretty highly praised. Really weird to see this, but at the same time, like, Crunchyroll is big enough to do this? I don't know. It's kind of weird. But they're doing it with mobile games. So whether this may expand to other games in the future, we'll see. In terms of like much bigger games outside of mobile games. But
I mean, are we discussing whether this is a good idea or not? Because this is a fantastic idea.
I think it is a good idea too. I'm just kind of.
You're just iffy on the logistics of it?
Yeah, like...
Yeah. I understand that because it could fail, like, spectacularly.
Yeah. Yeah, it could fail. I'm trying to wonder in fact, because, like, I know Crunchyroll is a big company, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I'm not sure they're a big enough company to publish games. Like, they've got tons of subscribers on their service, and they have, like, money coming in, but I just like looking at this like kind of scratching my head quite literally on stream as far as like could they do this? I mean, could it happen? You know, could they sustain this? is the real question. But you know, time will tell. But like you know, starting on a mobile platform, you know, it's a start. It's not a huge dip in the water for them, but it's still like potential to grow there. So, yeah.
That's all I have to say on that. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think this is definitely a gateway for titles that would normally never reach American consoles or PCs to see they just wouldn't see the light of day over here. So this is definitely that door opening, that window opening for that, whatever analogy you want to use. So,
yep.
That's the main reason I'm down for it.
Moving on to our last news story before we get to the Overwatch Minute with Greg Dietz. And this actually I can play this for.
Let me get ready. I wasn't ready.
So speaking of Assassin's Creed a bit earlier. So this is from GameSpot.com, written by Chris Pereira. Free Final Fantasy 15 DLC adding Assassin's Creed event and costumes. Final Fantasy 15 may not be getting a sequel, but Square Enix continues to support it through a combination of DLC and free updates. The latest example of the latter arrives in just a week's time in the form of an unexpected crossover event with Assassin's Creed. With the release of an update next week, Lyceum will be home to the limited-time Assassin's Creed Festival event. This will bring mini-games and exclusive items as well as gameplay elements from the Assassin's Creed game series. Quote, that was kind of a quote, I messed it up. Which appeared to include the ability to perform a leap of faith right in the middle of the city. And I'll put this link in the chat to read the rest of the story. I saw this this past week, and the one thing that came to mind when I was watching it, and even right now as I'm looking at it on my OBS, is that you've got your Assassin's Creed in my Final Fantasy. It's cool. I'm just kind of weirded out by it, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of the weirder crossovers I've ever seen.
Thinking about it, this is actually a weird year for crossovers. We have Assassin's Creed and Final Fantasy 15. We have Mario and Rabbids happening in the same year in a game. And
it's certainly like I said, it's not the weirdest crossover I've ever seen, but it's one of the weirdest.
Yeah. It's cool. I saw a clip of it where actually some of the characters were actually dressed up as Altair. And there were moments where you can leap off of the building into Leap of Faith. It's cool. Like for Final Fantasy fans, it's pretty awesome to see. It's a weird thing to see. It's kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yep. So
yeah,
that's it pretty much about it. I was trying to. That's also the gaming news I could find past week. There's a whole lot of it. Gamescom, man, gave us a whole lot. Watch next week. There'll be nothing. All right, so let me get this set up here. I was actually working on an animation video for tonight for the Overwatch minute. Didn't finish it in time, but what I did make is a new overlay. So,
yay!
With that being said, give me a second.
I don't have a camera.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your face, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, that works. That works.
So give me a second here as I... There we go. Alright, guys, welcome... Hang on, wait a minute. Alright. Welcome to the Overwatch Minute with Great Deets.
Alright, where to begin? So it has been a little while since I've done, 2 weeks to be specific. So there is a lot of news that came out, especially the last week. The first thing that I want to talk about is the Junkertown short film that came out. That was basically an announcement for the new map. It takes place in Australia. It is an adorable, hilarious little cartoon that they made where Junkrat and Roadhog are trying to get inside Junkertown but can't. So Junkrat comes up with a plan. Roadhog just kind of stands there and gives a thumbs up or not. It fails. And it's fun. But the map itself is an escort map. So I'm sure that the attack inside of Junkertown would be inside. And once inside Junkertown, another piece to this. Which looks like to be the room of the queen or whatever.
Not to cut you off, Greg, but you're kind of sounding kind of not robot-y, but you kind of are.
Okay. How about now?
Okay, much better.
Yeah. It just need to reset itself, and then you stop talking. So how much of that did you get?
Part of it. Let me also say, before we continue on, the footage you guys are watching on stream is courtesy of Overbuff. They allowed us to use their footage of some of the changes to Mercy and other characters on stream, so...
which I will get to soon.
Yep, shout outs with them. But yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Okay, basically the Junkertown map was announced with a cute cartoon of Junkrat and Roadhog dealing with that. The map itself looks to be an escort map, where the attacking team will have to move a payload full of gold into Junkertown, and then once it's in Junkertown, they'll have to move it to the Queen's headquarters, or whoever runs Junkertown. The second thing I want to talk about is May's Overwatch short.
Oh god, that was...
So yeah, she had about a 10-minute short, and it was I don't know anybody who watched it who didn't tear up.
Yeah.
I'll just say that much. If you have not seen it yet, it is delightful and free on YouTube, so what are you waiting for? But I adored it. I absolutely adored it. So the next thing I want to talk about before I get to the hero changes, Season 5 is ending... What's today's date? The 27th?
Yeah.
So Season 5 is ending tomorrow, on Monday. And Season 6 will start on the 31st, so there'll be only like 3 days between seasons. However, Season 6 is having significant changes made to it. First and foremost, seasons are now going to only be 2 months long.
Okay.
But the overall reward for the 2 months will be smaller because it's a shorter season. However, your reward for winning games will be larger. So I don't know how much different that'll be or how much that gold will be, but it's kind of cool that winning now garners more than 10 coins. Or 10 gold, however you want to put that. Skill rating decay is smaller. So, for example, if you're in a certain bracket and you haven't played for a while, your skill rating will only go down 25 points, not 50. But because of that decay, they've now made it possible for you to lose diamond rank.
Okay.
So that's an important factor. Let's see, where was it? Control maps will no longer be best of 5; they will now be best of 3.
Nice. Okay.
Jeff Kaplan stated that the reason this is because he had noticed that there was a lot of these control map matches that were lasting way too long because the overtime was lasting way too long on each fight. So bringing it down to 3 with the competitiveness, the matches will be the same length as any other competitive match. Basically, the control map stuff was just too long. Your placement this upcoming season will be accurate to your skill. In the previous 2 seasons, they actually ranked you lower than your actual skill ranking, so that way you'd have fun climbing to the top. But they had seen a lot of feedback where people kind of hated that. They would rather be placed where their skill rating is, so they know where they are, and then lose a bunch of matches than the other way around. Which I kind of understand. You know, you want to be placed right away. However, the situation that kind of rolls with this is that higher tiered matches will be more balanced, but the wait time will be longer. So, something that Jeff was seeing a lot of in his video was that people loud. One of the things that he had seen. Sorry, what was I saying? Music was so loud it distracted me.
Want me to order it down?
Yeah, it's blaring in my ear. I don't know why.
Okay, sorry. There you go. All right.
It's fine. Higher tiered matches. Okay, that's what it was. So basically, if you are like super high tier, let's say you're above 4,000. You know, I don't know. And you're going to be in a smaller grouping of people, essentially. Most people are going to rank right in the middle, about 2,500. But let's say you're 4,000. Let's say you're that good at the game. Well, the problem is that they didn't want to have you wait too long for matches, so you'd be teamed up with people you were either stomping on, or you were getting partnered up. Like, let's say you're a lower rank, you're getting partnered up with people or going against people who were just stomping the hell out of you. You're now going to be teamed up with people in your exact bracket, like maybe 10 points below or above you. That's it. The problem with this, though, comes the fact that you're going to wait longer for matches, for competitive matches primarily. So, sorry, but at the same time, I kind of like that because it's now going to make matches a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, Season 6 sounds awesome. We got that new map coming, and then we had the short, and it would all that was announced in a week. Well, in the same week there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hero changes that have yet to be implemented.
Yes. It's crazy.
So I will run down each of them and then get to the significant one. So the first one is Junkrat will now have 2 concussion mines. And his tire moves, I think, 20% faster or 30% faster. Also, there's no limit to its wall climb. So you could essentially climb the highest wall in the game and it won't come down like halfway or whatever. Nice. This allows Junkrat to triple jump now. Huh. This allows him to. Here's the thing about his concussion mine though, is if you set one down, I don't think you can set another down right away. From the videos that I've watched, basically, if you throw one and then you detonate, there's just one in your inventory immediately before it does the normal respawn timer.
Okay.
I have to watch more of it, but basically, yeah, like I've watched people do triple jumps and stuff with it and whatnot. It's pretty neat. But yeah, his is a big buff. His is pretty big. Orisa also had a buff. Her fusion driver is now sped up by 20%, and her barrier is now bigger.
Damn.
So
Damn.
So the reason her barrier is bigger, the reason they said is they want her to have more of a coverage of her team. She was less effective in the class that they wanted to put her in, which was basically like a slightly more mobile Reinhardt. And they want her to be more of a Reinhardt, essentially. So that's kind of where that went. As for her fusion driver being sped up, I think that's just because it was a little slow and it wasn't doing the job that they saw it doing or whatever. Roadhog is getting a slight buff, and it's basically that when he uses his self-heal, he can now move while using it, much like how Bastion can move with his self-heal. But also, all damage being done to him during that self-heal is reduced by 50%. Which is going to make him, if he's in the middle of just the fight itself, he will be able to withstand the chaos. So that's fun. Widowmaker's getting a slight buff. Everyone's getting buffs. You're getting a buff, and he's getting a buff.
Yeah.
Widowmaker's grappling hook is going to be reduced from 12 seconds to 8 seconds, which makes perfect sense because why wait for that realistically? It should be at 0, honestly. I don't see the point of it being on a cooldown. Maybe because somebody might abuse it and try to like go back and forth between 2 points and just keep I guess, but at the same point, like, who's doing that if they're playing Widowmaker?
That's a good point.
Very good point. But also the Venom Mine now shows affected targets through walls and stuff, so that's going to be fun. Diva has she's not necessarily having a buff as much as it's a slight reworking, and that's her Matrix. Her Matrix drains 2 times faster. This was because people were having an issue with the fact that when other tanks, Reinhardt, Orisa, yada yada yada, when their blocking device was being damaged or being shot at or whatever, there was a physical thing they could see that was showing them it happening. Like the cracking on Reinhardt's shield or Orisa's shield.
Yeah.
The Matrix didn't show any of that. The Defense Matrix didn't show a single thing of that. So, now that it drains 2 times faster, I think they also disabled the ability to spam it.
Yeah. I remember watching the video for this, so yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
But now she can use her guns while boosting, which is going to be a factor. And she has a new ability, which are micro missiles.
Yeah.
So I think she'll be a much more effective tank, attack tank, I should say. People are calling her the new DPS tank, but
yeah,
on that. And the final, this is less of a buff and more of a reworking. People are calling it a buff because of what's happening, but I also think people are just having a hard time fighting against it, and I think they will bring some of it down. But Mercy had a huge...
Ooh. Boy.
At first, people were furious. Like, what's the point of Mercy if you can't res? Well, you can. You can only res one person at a time for every 30 seconds. So that's going to be a big thing for the player, whoever's playing as Mercy. Going to be making that choice on who to res at what time. She's gonna be less of the must pick healer now. I think she's still going to be a big, like, the main healer because of her Cadius beam being Cadistrus beam being so much stronger. But having Resurrect as a one-time use every 30 seconds is, I think it's very cool. I think it's very neat. Also, the alt. The alt is the biggest part. So the alt is completely changed. It's now called Valkyrie. And when she activates it, she can actually res somebody, activate it, and immediately get her res back, and then res the second person. Mm-hmm. It basically rebuffs her entire, all of her, abilities. Couldn't think of the word ability there for a second. But she also gains flight and does extra damage with her gun that never runs out of bullets while she's flying. So she never has to reload it while she's in Valkyrie mode. Also, her staff now can chain the beam. So let's say your entire team needs healing because you're trying to do a team fight. You could activate your ult and just heal your entire team.
Yes, yeah, it's super cool. It's actually really awesome.
And the entire ult lasts 20 seconds. Now, the problem that people are seeing online is that they don't know how to fight against it, because not only is she, like, nigh invincible when she activates it, but she's also super fast and is flying. Also, her gun does so much damage. So people are calling her, like, a terror in the PTR. Yeah. But this goes in line with people just not knowing how to fight against something new. And I think that once...
Well, here's the thing about that. I saw a clip... And it might be from Overbuff actually that tweeted it out. But I saw a clip where literally a Mercy was mowing down people, like going in with her ults initiated, and it was ridiculous. Like, she was getting kills left and right. I did see some talk from the developer saying that they are not liking the way the Mercy's been played in PTR right now. Like the fact that she's like now more of a attack support character. So what they're looking at the nerf damage, or they're looking at damage of the pistol, and they're looking to possibly nerf it.
I'm 100% behind that. I think it's either one of two things they need to do: nerf the damage she's outputting with the gun, like bring it down to maybe what normal was, because it was still putting out a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
Either make that a thing or just don't make it like an endless barrage of bullets.
Yeah. Basically,
like make her have to reload.
Yeah,
because when she's flying, she's not necessarily invincible. You can still shoot her out of the sky. A good soldier can still take her out.
Oh yeah,
she's just fast, and is the player has 110% control of her. So
yeah,
it's kind of nuts right now. It's kind of making me laugh also because that's actually really kind of funny. But yeah, she her ult is big right now. Like, I remember reading a lot of comments on Twitter as soon as it was announced, and people were just like, "Not my Mercy. Oh, it's bullshit. Yada yada yada." And then people got a hold of it, and they were just like, "Oh my god, she is unstoppable."
It's insane. It's like, holy crap. This is insane. This Mercy.
I mean, the overbuff footage that you had, showed her taking out a Roadhog on her own.
Yeah. It's insane. The damage.
So yeah, it needs to be I think the idea of her ult should definitely be in the vein of like she's nigh invincible for 20 seconds, and she can chain her beam. Like, that's what it should be. She whoever's playing Mercy should use Valkyrie in one of two instances. That's helping the team by either chaining the heal or getting the resurrect back super fast, and the other option is getting the hell out of there when the team dies.
Yeah.
Those are the only two I'd like that. Pull the ripcord and activate your ult. Those are the only two times that I see that being a viable option. But I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to get a hold of it. Unfortunately, I don't play on PC, so I can't play in the PTR.
Okay.
But like my dream is like, we need a team. We need a team wipe, and we need to get the point. And I'm chaining 5. I'm healing 5 people at once, or I'm Lucio comes in and he speed boosts everyone while I'm as Mercy or somebody else's Mercy is damage boosting everyone. Like the idea that is so awesome to me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when I first heard of these changes, the first thing that came to mind was just like, see, everybody who is like excited for these changes and excited looking at what exactly was changed. This is the exact same feeling for me and everybody else who plays fighting games in terms of like when there's a new patch out and like every frame data that we read is like either oh my god or why the hell did they nerf that. I was seeing that just happen to myself when I saw that happening. But the other thing is just like kind of from an outsider's perspective, like Mercy looked like totally buffed. It's like holy shit, they did so much for her. But it seems like they're definitely
and to clarify for anybody listening, the reason that they made this change, the primary reason was that they were seeing a lot of people just like die on the point, I'm hiding around the corner, and they have their ult, and then they come in and have a 5-man ult or 5-man res, and it totally catches the enemy team off guard, and they were like, that's not the point of Mercy at all. That's 100% not the way that we ever wanted her to be played. So that's why the change happened. But yeah, like it's fascinating. Also, just to be clear, like it was kind of crazy. It was really kind of crazy to have. It was Monday was the Junkertown animation.
Yeah.
Monday was the Junkertown animation, and then Tuesday was the information about the season change and all that jazz. And then Wednesday was the May animated short, and then Thursday was like the Diva and Mercy buff. Like the week before that, it was all the other characters I mentioned. But it was like, I think I messaged you, Anthony, on Thursday, and I was like, can Overwatch chill for a fucking day? Like, Jesus.
Yeah, it was insane. There was so much Overwatch stuff happening in the past week. Like, it was insane. Like, and not to mention the fact that we are getting closer to the fall. We're actually almost at the fall season right now. So BlizzCon is coming up pretty soon. And then again, I'm pretty sure there's going to be something for that. So Overwatch news does not stop. It keeps on rolling. The hits keep on coming.
It won't stop. It's technically at this point a juggernaut. Like maybe once PUBG comes to, like it gets out of beta, it might take over, but we'll see. Yep.
Is there anything else, or is that about it?
That is everything this week, this last 2 weeks for Overwatch. I mean, I doubt that there's going to be any big news this upcoming week. Like I said, the season is ending this week, and season 6 will also start this week. So we'll see how that changes. I'll definitely try to get my placement matches in before next episode, so that way I can tell you how the placement works this time and if it's any better. But I don't anticipate any upcoming differences or changes within Overwatch this next week. So.
All right. Well, that has been your Overwatch Minute with Greg Dietz. And that brings us to the end of our show. Let me just make that official on the topics. One thing I would like to add, just to in a self-gloating way, last night when I was testing out the stream, when it came to different games and just make sure that the stream quality looked great, I played a match of Overwatch I have not played in a long time. I come back, I play a match. Somehow I managed to get a team kill with my ult of Soldier 76. So I have it highlighted in the Twitch channel. It was awesome. It was perfect time, and I killed everybody. So yeah,
that's awesome.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for us, guys. So before we go, also want to say thank you. I should have mentioned thank you everybody who lurked in the chat right now or came by. Also, again, shout outs to Overbuff. You can find them at Overbuff on Twitter. They have a website, overbuff.com. All the statistics for Overwatch, as well as win rates, rankings, and more. So definitely check it out. Thanks again for lending this user footage for tonight's episode. Before we go, Greg, where can they find you on the internet?
You can follow me on all the social medias by searching for Chub Rock Geek. You can follow me. You can find me every Saturday night on Half Empty Energy Tank's Twitch channel. That is twitch.tv/Half Empty E Tank. I just put up a review for Sonic Mania, so you can check that out on the website. I think that's it for right now. Yeah, that's it.
All right, awesome. You can follow me on Twitter at Defective Naruto. You can follow the work that we do as well as this podcast on our website at MationStarPodcast.com. Give me a second here. There we go. If you enjoyed this Twitch stream, if you enjoy watching or listening to it, we do upload this every Tuesday on our website in the audio version. We're on iTunes and Stitcher. So if you want to listen to the audio version, or if you came by and you missed the entire stream, we got you on the audio version. So definitely subscribe, and it'll be up on Tuesday on our website at MationStarPodcast.com. Also, hit that follow button on the Twitch channel, or if you're generous, the subscribe button if you can. If you enjoy us talking about conventions, if you want to know, what's the next biggest convention to check out, what was good and bad about the anime convention that the last one was held, check out the Conover, which is usually goes up every time. Usually it goes up every time whenever we do an episode. And we're gonna actually have a new one coming up pretty soon for Crunchyroll Con. We're gonna have Johnny be joining us to talk about what his thoughts were about the convention. It's also on iTunes and Stitcher as well as in the podcast section, and it usually goes up when it goes live, probably most likely on Fridays. But yeah, it is definitely check it out when you guys can. Last but not least, check out The Rollin' 20s. It is a movie, comic book, entertainment, games, just kind of a smorgasbord of video game nerd stuff in one podcast hosted by Jeremy Wilson. It is on iTunes, Stitcher, as well as on the podcast section of our website, usually up every Friday. And definitely check that out when it comes out live every week. Also, I forgot to mention, and I keep saying this, is that I need to update the picture and saying that if you haven't already, we have a movie podcast that we do every once in a while called Down in Front. We should have one coming up pretty soon. The last one we did was on Spider-Man, but it's on iTunes and Stitcher. I just got approved last week to be on iTunes, so definitely check it out. It's Down in Front. And yeah, it's on our website, and whenever we see a movie, we'll put it up and let people know. But that's going to do it for this podcast, for this episode, and more than likely you'll probably see me play Destiny 2 this week since it's coming out on beta PC starting tomorrow. So, yay, I'm excited for that. So, with that being said, I'm not sure Greg's still on the call. Is he? Greg? No, he's gone. He messaged me earlier, so. Alright, he's gone. Alright, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time.